Hello, everyone. Hope everyone had a wonderful set of games last weekend. For those of you who had them, congratulations to everyone working a state championship game this weekend. We are going to take some time to go over some of the plays from last weekend and what we can learn from them. And before we go any further, I want to say that um, we know that the good plays and good mechanics and good judgment that we make, those plays are much greater in magnitude than the number of plays that are going to be on this training tape, right? So we know that. And we're going to talk about them here today. And I say we because I tried to get Roscoe to come on, but he couldn't make it. So I got Doug instead.
You got
Doug,
the
you
big buddy.
there?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. Good. Doug didn't think my joke was as funny as I did. That's all right. So we're getting real fancy this time. We have title pages for slides. All right, Doug, first play. My fancy title card says what just happened because that's the best thing I could come up with. All right. So let's go through this play here. We have what looks like a 4th and 6 here for Liberty. Important play. I'm going to let this run a couple of times and y'all figure out what's going on before we cut it up. All right, so we got an interception right there. He's running out of the end zone. Let's look at it again. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff going on. Let's break it through. Let's go through the circles. First thing we see is we want to be looking at this defensive back right here, okay? So that's not it. That's it. All right, let's be looking at this defensive back right here. Okay, so 4th and 6, this defensive back is going to take down this receiver. Okay, so the first thing we have here is a defensive hold. Contact occurs before the ball's in the air. Defensive holding. Okay, then we have an interception. All right, so defensive hold, interception. It looks like he's intercepting the ball around the 5 yard line. You could say he catches it outside the five, but possession we could say occurs at the 5 or in. That of course means we have momentum at this point. So we keep going, ball still alive. At this point, we have the F there by position F because it's the first half. By position, the F up here starts killing the clock and giving an inadvertent signal. Okay. And after all that happens, then we have the back judge throwing the flag for holding. So if you want to look at the order of events in sequence, we have the defensive hold goes first. Once we have the defensive hold, we have the interception. Then we have the inadvertent whistle. And then after both the interception and the inadvertent whistle, we get the flag throw. And the result of this play, what the referees end up doing on this play, is they gave Arborview the ball 1st and 10 at the 20. And Doug, I will let you take it from here.
All right. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff going on in this play. First and foremost, going back to the foul. When you look at it, it's and you work the process of it. You identify the foul, then you find the quarterback. Does he still have the ball, or is the ball in the air? Um, and what I'm getting at is if if you identify the foul, see the quarterback, the ball is gone out of his hands, so the ball is essentially in the air. We have the option of upgrading this from a defensive hold to a potential defensive pass interference call on this, just if we work the process of it. Um, the timing of this of that flag is huge. Um, we got to be a lot more efficient when we identify the foul, get our flag out. The timing of it does have it. I do understand that a foul is a foul is a foul. Uh, but when you look at it in this point, this seems like it's a dead ball penalty because the F is already killing the play. So now we go to the momentum aspect of it. Real time, these kids are moving fast. We're looking at the process of a catch. and then we make note the yard line. So just that little bit from where you showed that what looks like possession, because we can't see through his back, was right around the 6 or outside the 5. By the time we pick that out, we're putting him inside the 5. So now we have momentum in that aspect. Um, Again, with the IW and the ball being killed in the end zone, would put momentum back on. Um, what transpired on this play started with the timing of of this flag coming in. Um, we should have flag a lot earlier in that in my opinion on this. As you said, this is a takedown. This is a pretty obvious one. Not much to process. As soon
Doug,
as
before we go any further, what should the outcome of this play be? Like after all this is done and all these events happen, what should happen on the very next snap? Who should
this
have the
should
ball?
this should have been a 1st and 10 for the offense.
Okay. I was making sure. I don't think either of us did that. Yeah. So you got the defense getting the ball with 30 hands, which means they don't get to keep the ball, right?
Correct.
So, okay. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So as you stated, this is a 4th and 6, right? And this is what's bringing me to the point of foul reporting. This is becomes huge. So if we just come in and just report, I have defensive holding. Okay, it doesn't state when you got to remember you had a late flag. So all the timing on this aspect, when people see when the flag came in, even as an official, right? You're out there and you're like, oh God, what did he have? Because that came in after he killed it, right? I would have assumed that this would have been a dead ball penalty.
That's
Um,
what we thought. I was in the booth during this play, and we looked at each other and said, "Where did that flag come from?"
Correct.
Nobody knew. We just
Yep.
saw him throw it at this point. We're like, "What just happened?"
Yeah. So had it been a dead ball penalty, then momentum would have been on, right? And we would have went to the momentum spot and then forced it from the momentum spot half the distance to the goal in that case, right? But since this happened prior to the pass or while the pass is there, because it's really tight, right? Um, this automatically becomes a previous spot. Previous spot enforcement, the IW goes away um, because it's going to be a 1st and 10 for the offense. So not only did we wave off the flag, anytime that you have momentum, the caveat in why momentum comes into play is because by rule, this without momentum, that play would have resulted in a safety, not a touchback. So since the play would have technically resulted in a safety, this is where momentum comes into play, and we give them basically forward progress at the point that they got possession in the field of play. And we're not going to penalize him for his momentum taking him into the end zone and subsequently the ball being dead in the end zone. So that's the exception about momentum. So we kind of messed up by ruling that this was going to be a touchback due to the inadvertent whistle. Um, so there's just a lot of things going on in this. You can see how quickly things can get confusing. But if we just keep it simple and state when things happen so we can piece this puzzle together to get the right outcome in this case. So again, the who, what, when, where, and why in foul reporting is critical. You got to know when the foul occurred prior
And
to the
and bring
pass.
that information. I think a lot of the problems that we're having here is we don't even know what the conversation was totally, or who said what, or when, or what happened with that.
Correct. We're not privy to that
Right.
information. And so just working it the way you would out on the field, right?
Right.
We got to slow down and when we think about things, we got to first go in order of occurrence. When did this action take place? Then we can figure out what our enforcement spot is because had we come up and reported it correctly, and again, uh, the reason I'm saying that is because the only thing that I was told was this was reported as defensive holding. There was nothing else after that.
Right.
So
And to be fair to that, this is, I think part of my point is there's a lot of people out there. If somebody said defensive holding, you know, not just the umpire, but somebody else on the field, their ears have to perk up and say, wait, defensive holding, and we're giving the ball back to R. Why are we doing that? Right.
correct.
And maybe somebody did say that. I don't know. Again, we don't know anything. So
Yeah.
maybe somebody did say that, and that person was ignored for whatever reason. It doesn't,
Yeah.
it's a tough play.
Yeah.
Tough play. It's a weird play. My thoughts are it took 7 seconds from the time of the foul for the flag to come out. And, we want slow flags. We don't want moving at the speed of an iceberg. So, you know, it's room for improvement is what this is.
Yeah. And I guess the thing that I would like to see people do a little bit more. If it's taking you this long to process the foul, um, generally these are going to be tighter tighter fouls, right? Where they become more technical. This is a takedown. This is he basically tackled him in the middle of the field, which we all know you can't do anywhere on the field. These are things that we want done or want called no matter where they happen. Um, in my opinion, this should have been processed in less than 2 seconds. Um, with that, with this type of foul. But if it's taking us to process something this long and we're actually throwing a penalty after a change of possession, now you might want to think, if you're having to think that hard about it, you want to keep that flag in your pocket. And again, these are on judgment calls that are tight. And I'm talking about receivers and defenders that are hand fighting down the field. Um, if it's that tight, keep your flag in your pocket. But if it's this obvious, you need to get it out a lot faster than 7 seconds in order to process this foul.
And we talked a lot about processing it during the play. I want to talk more about processing it after the play because there were six officials in a huddle on the field.
Correct.
And there should not never be six officials unless there's a bench clearing brawl by everyone. I don't think there should be six officials huddled together talking about what to do. That should be a 2 or 3 person conversation.
I agree with you, especially with the tools that we have with the O2Os. If we have six officials over there, who's who's on the sideline communicating to the coaches potentially?
Right. So when you're doing this, what you're going to do is you're going to have 2 or 3 people huddled up together. One of them's going to open up their mic so everybody can hear. And then whoever the wings are can directly relate to the coach what the conclusion of that conversation was.
Correct.
Then we go and we put the ball down and we go.
Yeah. And we did a good, we did a good job. We made sure that the ball was covered. So we had one person there, and then all the other ones were in the huddle. Um, the optics of that is not good because the longer we huddle together, the less credibility we have. And it's perception is reality in this situation. So if we don't need to have, all those people in there, then we shouldn't have all those people in there. Again, there's things that we can use on our O2Os. If we have a strong rules guy, because look, we have a flag, we have momentum. We had so much stuff on this play that in processing it, uh, I mean, this isn't even a casebook play, but this should be a casebook play now with all the stuff that transpired on this stuff.
Right. This is going to be a rules question for somebody next year, right?
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
Um, yeah, that's. I think we beat this play to death. Do you have anything else?
No, the main point is again coming in and be cognizant of how we're reporting our fouls. Always state when the foul occurred, during which segment of the play, because that automatically will tell us what the enforcement spot is, unless it's a penalty that has it in the statement of penalty.
Right.
But
And
yeah,
this should be a pretty straightforward enforcement.
yeah,
If
and
we
this
get the
this
defensive holding before the change of possession, we put the ball down and we go.
yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this was a 15-14 game at halftime.
It was a close game at
It
halftime.
was
Yeah,
close.
it mattered.
So as you can see, giving them the ball at the 20 versus enforcing it and giving extending the drive for the offense. Uh,
Right.
if you go back to where it snapped, now we're in the red zone.
Right.
That
And it's a completely different game if Liberty is up by a touchdown at halftime instead of only up one.
Yeah, there's they always talk about game momentum and stuff like that, and going into halftime, going into change of quarters, keeping that momentum going is huge. It can change a game. I'm not saying this did, but this is something that we kind of by us not knowing how to properly enforce this, we ended up interjecting ourselves, and instead of extending the drive, which would have been the right enforcement, we ended up rewarding the defense for getting an interception after fouling,
I
which
think it's fair to say for a state semifinal game, this was not optimal. Well, it's not optimal in any game, but especially not a state semifinal game.
correct.
Okay. All right. You ready to go to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. This is blindside blocks. I got fancy titles. Okay. All right. Let's look at the first one. This is the very first play of the game. Very first play of the game. And we're going to look here at number 6. He's at position 2 right now on the 40. He starts swimming upstream. He runs a good 10, 15 yards to see that, right? Who gets this, Doug?
Well,
Who
again,
should who should have gotten it?
it's right in front of your short wing, and I'll just say that since it's the first play, then that would technically be the line judge up on the top.
Right,
You got the referee that's trailing on this. The umpires should be looking down that line as well. So you got this play very well, you know, uh,
right.
triangleized. So you got three sets of eyes that should be looking at this.
I am putting this on the umpire because he doesn't have ball responsibility. And so when he turns and he starts running, well, he should turn a little quicker, I think.
Yeah.
Dead again.
Well,
Um,
and you're an umpire. I'm a line of scrimmage guy, so I'm always gonna,
we're going to blame our own
be an
people.
umpire,
Yeah,
and
I know.
I'm gonna put it on the
Um,
line of scrimmage
and I
because
think the umpire does a good job hustling here to get to where he's going,
yeah,
but you can't just start. That's the speed you run when the play is over and you're trying to get to the pile,
yeah.
not the middle of the play. The middle of the play, you still gotta. It's like when they teach baseball outfielders when they're running to catch the ball to keep their head still. Same idea, right? You gotta
So on this play, we got to
get that in
remember
your
we have
periphery.
seven people out there, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Like two more sets of eyes. The quarterback's coming right towards the line of scrimmage guy. There's nothing else that he should be looking at because that is 53. I believe it was 53 that's in pursuit of the quarterback at that time. and that's the only action in the area. Um, Remember, you got a deep wing that's another set of eyes is going to be looking in. You got, back judges, and you also have the referee that's trailing on this. So if he's got the quarterback, at some point we got to figure out when are you releasing the quarterback if you're the referee to the line of scrimmage to allow them to get progress, right? So when do you get release the quarterback and then go to cleanup duty?
I don't have the answer. My crew chief will never let me white hat, so I don't have the answer to that question.
All right. So if I'm white hatting, I'm going to take a wide angle view at this
Okay.
and start looking at this because again, we don't need to stare at a runner because the only foul that he can have is targeting or
Right.
illegal helmet contact or
Yeah,
he's
and this
not a
this
passer.
runner's not being threatened either.
No, no. That's the only action right now because literally these are the only four players now with that guy swimming upstream, right?
Right.
So again, it's just another thing. One of the hardest things to do as an official is to train yourself not to watch the runner
Right.
and start looking for action.
Don't
So
watch the ball, is
that's
what you're
it.
trying to say.
Yeah. So
22 of them, five of us. We can't have five people watching the ball, right?
yeah. Well, and then this one we got seven.
We
So
got seven. There you go. Yeah, this guy down here might not be able to get it too, but
yeah, but he's looking through a sea of
he's got
people,
he's got a sea of people,
you know.
you know. I
But again, this is where as if I'm working offside and the play's away from me, I'm gonna release because
Yeah, you got to get a
the
good angle.
the guy at the top of the screen is gonna have that hold the line and make sure the quarterback doesn't dump at last minute or whatever.
Right,
I can release down some and get a fight to get a better angle. And that's the other thing is we got to start fighting to get angles,
right,
to start seeing things.
right. Don't ever tell Doug I was blocked from the play. All right, let's look at another one. This is kind of the same deal. Um, this guy boop, doesn't look as bad because he ricochets off his own player, but that's a foul. Agreed.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Had
Only
had
thing
he
is,
not
somebody
bounced,
somebody goes on the mic after this play because I have the radio in. Somebody on the mic goes on the play and goes, "I almost had a blindside block."
yeah.
Who it was, but it doesn't matter. But that's a blindside block. I'm putting that on what would be the F probably.
Yeah, depending on what play this is, it looks like
Yeah,
so
the deep wing at the bottom.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all F.
So on judgment on this, hey, I get it. We want to start looking at the force of it, right? But when we want to see where the initial contact is, are they coming in with open hands on this? Uh, or is he using a shoulder? Is the hit up high?
Right.
You know? And
But
again,
what's
to your
the key
point,
here? The key here is this player starts going towards his own goal line.
yes. As
And
soon as
if
you're
you see
swimming
a
upstream,
player going the opposite direction of everyone else,
yep.
you've got to have your antenna up.
Oh yes. 100%.
And that's all. And if somebody has their antenna up, they don't, we get this, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right. Let's just watch this whole thing through.
Boom.
Boop.
Boom.
Okay. All right. Let's watch it one more time. See if you catch anything. All right. Now let's look at it
It's a
cut
good
up.
play.
All right. So first, let's notice position of the umpire. I'll bring that up in a second. Just notice he's standing around the 27, about position one. All right. Now, the first one's going to come at the 38 on the left side of your screen. He's only in there for a split second, so I can't highlight him, but he's coming in. Boom. There's that one. All right. So now we got tackle. Umpire's still there. Now we got to look at this guy over here on the left, and there's a little cheap shot right there. Um, the second one, Doug, do you think that's a blindside block? Do you think it's a UNR? Does it matter?
They're both 15 yards.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Um,
They're both 15 yards. But now I
it is
will say
outside the frame. I don't think, you do see an indicator where he is, coming up. It's a cheap shot.
it's a cheap shot. There's no reason for
Yeah.
it. Um, yeah, ironically enough, they did have a hold. They did have a foul on this play at the 38, which was the spot of the first blindside block, but they had a hold, and you might be able to see it. It's the action that they are calling a hold. Yeah. Um, so they have that hold right there, and they went back 10. I originally thought they just missed the enforcer spot for the blindside block, but they had a hold. Now, the reason I bring up the umpire is if you're an umpire and there's a punt, when you watch that first wave go by, you don't just turn, you want to drift some, right? Because you want to be helping out your back judge in the middle a little bit if you can. And if you're drifting back a little bit, you can help out your back judge some
Yeah.
because you might be the only one that can see a block in the back coming right there. Because right now, if you're at the 27, this ball's at the 50, that's going to be hard to see any blocks down there. And then boom, there's that. You might be able to see that blindside block because you're closer to it, right? Okay. All right. So that's
So
all I got for this one.
let's go over coverages on this, right?
Okay.
So there is a huge difference between 7 person and 5 person on this.
I agree.
Um, and our line of scrimmage guys got to get it in their head that okay, I am now a deep wing. I have big vision on this, and I have goal line should this get, returned for a touchdown. They do a very good job on this, but when I'm looking at the individuals and now the play is actually going away from the officials at the top of the screen, right? So the ball is kind of kicked to position 5, position 4 on the field.
Yep.
So position 5, play's going away from you now, right? You no longer have the runner. You no longer, have you're in cleanup mode now. You should have wide vision. You should be looking in zones and start looking for action on this.
You're talking about this short wing up here, this H, right?
I'm talking about, yes, the one that's working the chains right now,
Yep.
as well as
The
the
L.
deep wing. And then again, when is the back judge releasing this to the deep wing on his at the bottom of the screen?
Right.
Because they have progress, not the back judge, right? Back judge has end of kick,
Correct.
get a beanbag down, get a beanbag down, get a beanbag down. Uh, once we do this, now he's got cleanup mode. So we technically should have the H at the top, we'll say side judge at the top, back judge now, all in cleanup mode. Same thing with the referee. And then your line judge down here, as the play is coming towards you, you should have cleanup mode. The field judge would be taking the runner and getting forward progress on this. So we got to train ourselves again to start looking for the action. I think we get hung up on 5 person mechanics, and it's understandable because we don't get a whole lot of reps in this.
Right.
So this is part of the reason that we're putting this out and showing you what we want. I love the positioning. I like the fact that the short wing at the top of the screen, he only drifted down what, 6 yards, 5 yards?
Yeah.
Looks like it might have been kicked from the 16.
Yeah. So he's 5 yards.
So he's 5 yards. That's great. He's settled in. He's not moving, which is great. Now we just need to start looking further in towards the middle of the field, right? Because that's the action that's going to be closer to the runner, right? So this is a return, if you're a back judge, this would be a return to the left, which is going away from the top of the screen. They needed to look further into the field of play instead of hanging out with the players that are essentially have nothing to do with it, right? So we wanted them to start looking further inside now towards the middle of the field and then work, clean up after that. Same thing with your wings over here. Work inside, then out, because the return is in the middle, going to the outside. So work inside, then outside, then start going to the outside stuff.
Okay. But you did say the bag judge supposed to have a beanbag down, right?
Please,
Okay. Just
please,
making
please,
sure.
please. Right? Because again, you never know, right? We saw the play where we had
I know. I've been
processing.
there.
Yeah, that's it.
I've been there. All right. What's next? Ooh, we got a new subject. Preventive officiating. All right, here we go. Got this play. There's that tackle. Boom. Okay, now I was in the booth when this happened. When this tackle occurred, the whole stadium goes, ooh. And Doug, if you hear the whole stadium go, ooh, after a tackle, what might happen next?
Somebody's going to get up and probably not happy.
Stuff might get real, right? Okay, so
That's
here we go.
yeah.
We got this line judge down here marking the spot, got it. And then the guy who made the tackle gets to the guy's face, and then the guy retaliates back. My issue with this is when this is going on right here, we have the line judge not having a sense of urgency.
I would like to see him react a little bit quicker to this.
Yeah,
So as soon as, because you can tell when they get up, right?
right,
There's certain things they're going to do. I don't want to use certain phrases in there, but I will. You drop the term. Uh, there's things that they're going to do to get under the skin of their opponents. This was a pretty intense game. Um, between the players. So when they start making a big hit, now they get excited, right? Now this is where we want that sense of urgency to take off from the beginning. Now we want to come in and show ourselves, right? And start using our voices a lot more. I know you do it. I know other umpires, they're hoarse by the end of the play because they're talking so much, right? And just getting that show of presence in there.
right.
I
And
do like the deep wing and the umpire. They came crashing in. I would
yeah,
like to see the line judge and everybody else, right? The back
yeah.
judge, the guys at the top of the screen. That's cool for them to stay back and take the wide angle look on this. But we should have at least four other people coming in on this.
And the reason that matters is the umpire's doing his job and crashing in here, but he's got to get to through one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 people
Yeah.
to get there.
Yeah.
Right. The line judge, he bolts in right here, and we might could have prevented something. Right. Another way of saying it is when there's a fracas, if you will, the deep wing should never be beating the short wing to the fracas, especially when it's this close to the line of scrimmage,
Yeah.
which is my point. Okay.
Yeah. And
So
we
I just want to
and
make the point, be alert. We want to prevent more than flag. I agree it's a foul, and they ended up offsetting these, which I think was correct.
correct.
But, um, you don't think that's objection worthy, do you?
I don't.
Okay.
I do see him swing, right? And it's more of a shove.
It's more of a shove.
Shove to the face mask.
More of a shove to the face. I
Right?
concur.
So use the philosophy, open hand versus a punch. Again, it's not making excuses to keep them in the game. If they've earned it, they've earned it. But I think we default too quickly to
Right.
ejection.
At the end of the day, the guy was in the guy's face.
He was.
And yeah. So
And
he was getting the guy out of his face.
yep,
All right. Seven-person mechanics. Here we go. Technically, this is all seven-person mechanics, but this specifically. All right. So we've got a pick here. All right. Before we go any further, Doug, what are reverse mechanics again? Well, like what are they?
reverse mechanics.
Yeah, what are they?
So essentially, the field judge, side judge, back judge, they become the line judge, head linesman, and referee. In a typical, scrimmage play that would be going towards the opponent's goal line, right? Now
Yeah.
we're going backwards. So now the referee, line judge, head linesman essentially become the field judge,
Right.
side judge, and back judge duties, right?
So the H and L become deep wings, is what you're
The
saying.
H and L become deep wings. We
Okay.
do not have the spot. We have the goal line,
H and L had the goal line. So
right?
on a running play, a regular running play, the deep wing, you don't just stand there, right, and watch the guy go by you, correct?
Correct.
So
You
if you're the H
always
or L here in reverse mechanics, you have to get to the goal line.
you got to get to the goal line. You got to have a cushion.
Yeah.
And I understand we're not always going to beat these kids. These kids, some of these guys, they're going to go in a place in, D1 ball somewhere. They're fast, they're bigger, stronger. And but in this point,
I'm
to
trying to
your
keep this
point,
PG rated, Doug. That's two in like 90 seconds. I might have to edit out.
what did I say?
No, never mind. Never mind.
We want to get to the goal line on this one,
We
right?
want to
As
get to
soon
the
as we
goal line. I
see
couldn't even, I'm
interception.
blanking. What's the movie? Dazed and Confused.
Ah,
Dazed and Confused. Anyway,
so in this situation, yes, as soon as you see that, all three of the line of scrimmage, short wings, uh, line judge, head linesman, referee, you got to start thinking goal line,
start thinking goal line so you don't also get pushed out of the way by a fellow official because that's not a good
right?
thing.
So, and if you notice, for the most part, our deep wings are doing a much better job with the lack of reps that they get in maintaining a 10-yard cushion, right? But this play is going to show why we want to maintain a 10-yard cushion as best as we can, right? But we start defaulting to what we're taught in five-person mechanics, where you let the play pass, right? So we stop, we let the play pass, and then we trail it.
Right.
Well, that's the whole purpose of this one.
That's why you do that. Right. And it's hard because sometimes instincts kick in.
Yes,
And if you're used to working a short wing, you see a guy coming, you by instincts, you let him pass you.
yes,
And I think that's probably what happened here. But the reason you don't do that is for this reason here, where you
yeah.
get run over.
And I'll tell you, we saw this live, and again, it was reaction in the stands of ooh, you know.
Right.
Um, and hey, that official down there, he's a tough son of a gun. Uh, you know, his ribs were hurting the next day, but thank God he finished the game. He got
I'm just
back
glad you
up.
said son of a gun.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. Know the rules, penalty enforcement edition. All right. So, as we know, the mechanics book says that every single official on their field is responsible for proper penalty enforcement. We like to leave it to the umpire and have the wings be the backup for the umpire as a second line defense, but everyone is really responsible for knowing the rules. And the reason that matters is because if you get a weird penalty enforcement like this, that we're going to see on this play. So we're going to look at this left defensive tackle here and see what happens and what he does. They're engaged, and you see the helmet of the offensive lineman kind of pop up. We'll look at it again. So we've got a foul here, right? So see it. There we go. All right. So illegal hands to the face is not a high school penalty, but we do have illegal use of hands. And we have illegal use of hands. So we call legal use of hands here. We also might want to upgrade this to a UNR, but we'll get to more of that in a minute. The key here is what's the result of the play. The play ends around the 15-yard line, right? So how do we enforce this? The snap occurs at about the 33, and the play ends about the 15. On Saturdays and Sundays, we are going to tack this on, but we are not in high school. And the reason we are not in high school is because of when the foul occurs. This foul occurs is pretty tight. Either when the quarterback has the ball is probably when it starts, or right after the quarterback releases the ball. Either way, we know this is going to be part of the loose ball play. All action during the play that occurs before the ball is loose and the foul is behind the line of scrimmage, that's going to be part of the loose ball play. Okay, so this is a loose ball foul. And Doug, where do we enforce all loose ball fouls from?
Previous spot.
Previous spot. Here we go. So our tendency here is because we mostly see games on Saturdays and Sundays and we watch them tack this on. We're not going to do that here. We're going to enforce this from the previous spot. So if you wanted to go 10 yards here, you would go from the 33 to the 23 if the foul was accepted. If you went 15, you would go from the 33 to the 18. Of course, Arborview or the team on offense would not want to do that because the ball goes out of bounds at the 15-yard line. So they're going to decline this penalty. All right. So, moral of the story, everyone is responsible for rules enforcement. Everyone's responsible for rules knowledge. Don't just, give it to the umpire. As wonderful as we are, we do make mistakes every once in a while. Make sure that all of us are on the same page, right? Because the reason that we did not enforce this penalty correctly is because all seven of the people on the field let it happen.
Well,
And
and there is a little nuances when you're talking about loose ball penalty enforcements, right? Because if this was a straight up run, we could have tacked this on at the end of the run, correct?
correct, correct.
Okay. So there is, depending on the type of play, whether it's a loose ball play, so any type of passing play, any loose ball, right? Uh, that's the caveat to a loose ball play that it is a previous spot foul where if this was a running play, we could have tacked it on and it would have gotten this right. So there's times where this can get a little bit of confusing, especially if we just jump to a running play, right? Because this is the completed pass. Um, there's times where you got a screen pass that's caught behind the line of scrimmage, and we treat that as a run, right? But the penalty enforcement would still be a previous spot no matter where it was caught. Is that correct?
That is correct. It does not matter whether the pass is caught beyond or behind. The fact of the matter is the foul occurred during the loose or as part of the quote loose ball play,
Yeah.
even though the ball may not have been loose during the foul.
And so
And
my
it
point,
matters because it's only for fouls that occur behind the line.
correct.
Um,
And so my main point on this is yes, NFL and college makes it easier. You're able to tack it on at the end of the run, no matter what, right? Either a pass play or a run play. In this
if it's a
situation,
personal foul, right?
correct. If it's a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, and we'll get back to that point, and the difference between calling this a illegal use of hands versus upgrading this to a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Um, So because in high school there is these little caveats, it does make it a little bit more difficult than what we do see on Saturdays and Sundays. So I can see why people get it. I have done it myself.
I did it 2 years ago in a first round playoff game. Like it happens. You do it,
Yeah.
and you're like, what? In two plays later, you're like, crap, I don't think this is right.
Yeah.
Like it happens.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was today's edition of Know the Rules Penalty Enforcement Edition. All right, you ready for the next one? You got anything else?
Well, I think we wanted to talk about upgrading that to a
Okay.
unscored.
To a UNR. Okay, why do
Yeah.
you think this should be upgraded to a UNR? Well,
Number
first
one,
off, let's talk about it's not a face mask, right? It's not a personal
no,
foul face mask. A
no.
face mask has to be a grasp and a twist or a turn or something, right? Which is not what's going on here. But why do you think it should be a UNR?
So initially, when you look at this action, right? The first time is generally we're coming up, and a lot of times the hand placement is on the shoulder pads, trying to get leverage on the offensive player. By the defensive tackle is trying to get leverage there, and there's times where the hand just slips up, or he grabs a jersey, and extends up, right? This one seems more high and straight to the head. So therefore, I would upgrade this to a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, just based off the action that's taking place on this. I would love to see an end zone shot of this, um, but generally, when they start high, that's where you're going to get the action right to the head area, and we don't want it going straight to the head area. So that's why I would upgrade this to a personal foul on this.
Okay. I'm good with whatever. I think either could be defended at this point.
Correct.
Um,
And each one would result, in declining the penalty based off the results of the play, right? So in
could
either case, we're gonna decline the penalty in this case because the results of the play was greater than what the penalty can go. Now, in all three cases, all three would result in a first down. It
right.
just depends on what line you're going to start off. So you're either going to enforce a 10-yard penalty. If you did that, that would put it at the 23, which would give them a first down. Or you'd add, 5 more yards to that, which would take it to the 18. Or you take the results and play at the 50, right?
Correct.
So knowing that is having game awareness. Coach, you're going to want to decline this penalty. You gain more than 15 yards.
Yeah, and then somebody should be on the 0-2-0. The umpire of all people should be like, I have illegal use of hands or I have personal foul UNR. The offense is going to want to decline this. They're going to take the results of the play. It's not a tack on penalty. Say that for
Correct.
right. Because everybody's thinking, why don't we tack this on? The umpire goes on the 0-2-0 and says, this is not a tack on penalty because it occurred during the loose ball play.
Yep.
Start putting the ball down.
And again, getting back to the foul reporting, right?
Yep.
So prior to the pass, as soon as we keep on saying prior to the pass, during the pass, that passing lets us know it's a loose ball play, which reverts us back to previous spot,
Good
right?
spot. I'm on it.
So this is why we're getting on everybody about the verbiage that they use, how they report the foul, because it's going to give us our enforcement spot.
Yeah. You got to be firm and be assertive and know what you're talking about.
That's it.
And then, yeah, and once you do that, generally, if you know what you're talking about, even if you don't know what you're talking about, or you act like you know what you're talking about, people are going to listen. All right.
That's true.
Cool. All right. Anything else for this play?
No, I think we did a good job beating it.
All right. What's the next one?
I
Uh,
like this one.
this is my favorite one. To hold or not to hold. Okay. So are these holds or all are these not holds? Here's the first one. Same game. We're picking on this game a lot. All right. Doug, I do not have that as a hold. What do you think?
I don't either. If you look at the defender where he wanted to go, right?
Right.
He takes an inside move first because where the running back is. Now, when the running back cut to the outside, the defender is still able to move back across the body of that blocker. Now, they're locked up. I'm not telling you there's not grabbing going on, right? But the timing of when he lets go is the other aspect of this.
Right.
So in processing a hold, remember it's a it's a three-step process. Identify the foul, find the ball, and did it create an advantage? And if you
Yeah.
got yeses to all those, then we
You
should
should have a
have
hold.
flags down.
Yeah. You know, I hear, I've heard a lot over the last few weeks. Well, this is a hold because someone had a fistful of jersey,
Yeah.
but there was a handful of jersey.
And in all the categories, I have yet to find one
I've
that
yet to find
is full of jersey.
OH handful of jersey. Right.
Yes,
Not a thing.
that's right.
So just because there's a handful of jersey, if his arms are on the inside, he can lock up. That's totally fine. And this defender here, feet weren't taken away. There's no shoulder dip. There's no rip, right?
Yeah,
Things that are indicators for holding penalties aren't there,
correct.
in my
So
opinion.
he's in, and you do see stretch
There's a
now.
jersey stretch for sure.
Sure, but prior to the back getting there,
Correct.
because you see them doing this type of thing, right? And both of them are doing this
Correct. Yeah, they're
because they're trying
both.
to get separation,
Yeah.
both of them.
Yep. All right.
So
Next one. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
you don't have a shoulder dip, you don't have a step taken away. So good.
I agree. All right. Next one.
this one's going to happen towards the bottom of your screen, right about the goal line.
I think the deep wing got fooled on this. I think he saw that player dive and thought that was a hold.
I agree.
This is not a hold,
Correct.
right? Usually, when you see a hold and a player go down, it's because their feet get taken away. This player's feet doesn't get taken away, I don't think. And
Nope.
he
You don't.
jumps, dies, but his feet, he has control of his feet over the whole time, in my opinion.
Correct.
And
Now,
that's where
looking
this is
at
not
this
about.
mechanically, and again, being a line of scrimmage guy, I'm going to pick on the line of scrimmage on this play. So I like that he's starting off the line. You know, I don't think this play requires you to back all the way up as deep as you are at the yellow, um, because he's cut up right away. If you do get pushed off the line as a line of scrimmage, you need to fight to get back to that sideline because you might have to, and in this play, it involves a sideline and a pylon potentially. So you need to have that shot, that eye shot straight down that line to rule in or out and to rule on the pylon. You have the deep wing that's going to rule on the pylon, but he's straddling and has his back away. I love his positioning on this, and he has a goal line. So we got to do a better job in this situation, knowing that we have somebody at the goal line to where if we need to take a step back or two, that's fine. But now we got to fight back to this goal line or to the sideline and straddle that sideline to make sure we got our money lines covered.
So I guess you would prefer, instead of going back in this scenario, you would actually want your short wing to go upfield to stay on the line to get out of the way.
No, I'm okay with him going backwards
Okay.
because either way, you got to get back up, right?
Right.
um, I always go back first and then I move into the backfield if needed.
Okay.
But my movement backwards might be a step or two unless they're
Okay.
coming straight at me. But if they're coming straight at me, now that's when I dip into the backfield.
But you have to get back to the line.
But I got to get back to the line.
Gotcha. All right. Um, Last one. All right. So I couldn't see anything on here that could be a possible hold. The stuff I did see, by the time it happened, the flag was already in the air. So, uh, I don't know. If you're a deep wing, you're what, 25 yards off the line, right?
Yeah,
So it's got to be pretty big for you to call a hold,
yeah.
correct?
Well, and
I,
I
Go ahead.
I look at the play and what we're looking at is this matchup on the top, right?
Yeah.
And he does get beat and he's coming back towards it, right? So I can see, well, maybe they're thinking this is a block in the back. I do not have a hold on this. Um, the other aspect is we should be looking as the line of scrimmage. That's where we need to be looking as well.
Right.
There's nothing else. You got a runner in open space. You don't need to know how he's tackled, I mean,
Right.
other than a face mask. But after that, you got to get off this block and then get to the runner. But here, you should have this block the whole way. And now, when you see this flag come in, there's times where I get on my O2O and I says, "Hey, if that's for a holding or a block in the back on number, you got a foul on number one here." Yeah, I do. Hey man, I don't have a blocker or back or an offensive hold. I don't have holding or anything on this. No restriction. He's just touching him. He doesn't have anything. We're not taking the time to communicate between our officials to get it right. Not about being right, but to get it right. Right.
Right.
Um,
Agreed.
we need to have a lot more conversations between our officials in these situations because we do have that extra set of eyes.
The L could have taken him off this. And my other thing is, you mentioned in a couple plays ago, holding is a three-step process, correct?
Yes.
Well, that means it's going to take you a second
Yep.
and process it and take a breath and be like, oh, that's a foul, and then
Yeah.
throw it.
Because now we got to find the ball. So even if there was a hold, right, there, you can see that there's separation, right? So again, it's be patient with their flags. We don't want to be so patient like the very first play, right? But this is another thing where we got to get better at identifying the plays. Is this a run? Is this a pass? Because if I'm the back judge, right, I'd be peeking in over here as well.
Right.
Because there's no action over here. You got a runner. You know it's a run play. Get to the blocks, in front. You got these to the front. You're going to take point of attack from the wing. And you also got the umpire that's worth cleaning up backside over here. So
Correct.
again, it's just knowing what your person is doing, trusting that it's there, and then don't leave your partner hanging out to dry. I mean,
Yeah.
no, if you had information, right, and or if I had information that I knew you would want, and I purposely hold on to that because for some reason,
I
I
would
think
be
you would be
upset
upset. Why
if
didn't you
I
tell
threw a
me?
flag that was bad and you knew it was bad and let me do it.
Yeah,
I would be upset.
yeah. And so we got to get to that point. And so that's one of the things that we need to do is communicate, communicate. I get it that we're working off crews. We don't have that familiarity between each other. Um, Maybe we feel that we haven't earned the right to say something, whatever it is that we're using as a reason not to communicate. We need to put that in the trash can and give good information. Don't
Right.
talk to talk, but give good information.
I
So
agree. And
you
yeah,
got one on play?
yeah, I got one more. Let's just, my big deal was slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down. Same feels now. It feels like we're picking on this official. I thought this was the best official on the field the other night, so seems like we're picking on him. Um, we don't mean to, but don't ever do this.
Well, it's the optics of things, right?
It's the optics, yeah. Because that poor short wing right there, if that coach saw that, or for a Liberty coach saw that, they're not going to hear the end of it.
Well, in this aspect too, right? I'm guilty of this. I've done it, and I was like, ooh, and then all of a sudden I went,
Nah,
what's the result of the play, right?
right,
But by then I've already taken it out and I've shown it.
right,
To your point, in working five-person mechanics, these coaches are all looking at all of us officials of how did they miss this? What did they get? Hey, you saw it too. Oh my God, why didn't you throw on it? You had your flag out. You saw it, right?
right.
Now we're opening up a whole new can of worms and just inviting, unnecessary comments from the coaches on this aspect because they're not going to understand our philosophies. They're not going to understand
Right.
the rules of things
Right.
in that case.
Unofficially, my thoughts are if you pull it out, just I'll edit this if this can't be on there. But just throw it and then have somebody get you off of it.
Yeah,
Get on their OTO and say, hey, somebody get me off this, please.
yeah,
Somebody come here, somebody come talk to me, act like you saw something and tell me that it wasn't a foul.
yeah. And that's perfect that you said that, right? Because a lot of people think that, oh my God, I threw it out there. If I come out there and say, you know what, wave this off, I I think a lot of people don't know how to do that,
Right.
or they think that they can't do that, right? So it's always okay to, hey, wave it off. I've done it, I've thrown it, got it early, and then I went, son of a gun, the foul was beyond the end of the run. So there was no advantage, right?
I
And so I go to
concur.
my referee and go, hey, wave this
Now,
off. I was
don't
too.
make it a habit of doing that. Don't do that every
No,
week,
no.
but
Yeah. It's just
it
the
happens.
optics of it.
It happens.
Yeah.
All
And then
right.
there's one more play from my game, right?
Yeah, which one do you want? I got two from your game. No, what you want these?
Yeah, yeah, let's do this because this again is ownership, communication, and everything else. Um,
Do you want us to go to the next one or you want this one?
this is a really good play, real fast. Hey, this is clearly a backwards pass. So line of scrimmage guy, great job punching. and getting to the goal line, right?
I concur.
But like you've highlighted here with 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of hard to get to the goal line when you have this. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you again, I was at this game. If I'll be darned if these four coaches weren't always in the white, minimal. During the dead ball period, you had four coaches out there. It just wasn't a good look. So we gotta do a better job at this aspect. I understand it's kind of a pain in the rear, but you know, we just can't have this. We need to, because again, he's punching back. He's still looking where he needs to be looking, and he's not looking who's in his way. And this is a potential train wreck coming down here.
Yeah, and this is play 121.
Yeah,
If this is handled when it's supposed to be handled, this is not on this clip.
correct.
Yeah.
So last thing, wing down below. You got to get to the goal line. You just can't stand there and talk to it, and hey, it's going away. You got to start getting to the goal line. You got to bust your butt.
There you go.
Cool.
All right, here we go. Let this run. All right. So there's more to this play than meets the eye. They call us a touchdown for the home team.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So we got this line judge signaling off, right?
Hmm.
That's what the line judge is supposed to do. Now, when's the line judge supposed to put his arm down?
Now, as
Okay.
soon as he gets, well,
Should it still be up now?
no,
What about now?
no. It
Okay.
should have been dropped prior to the snap, if not at the snap, because anything past the snap,
Yeah.
you're signaling backwards pass.
Yeah. So this ball's thrown at the 46 and it hits at the 40, hits the guy's hands at the 47. So this is pretty clearly forward,
Yeah.
right? And now we have a situation where I think the H saw the L with his hand out and got confused, is my opinion.
Yeah. And I had conversations with the people that were on this game.
Yeah.
So, great job, guys, of them owning their mistakes, always looking to get better. My hat's off to them. To be honest with you, he didn't see that person signaling backwards
Okay.
he didn't even see him killing the clock. What's confusing is you look at how everybody except the team in red, the three people, everybody's given up on the play. So that should also tell you something. If you know, and you're the wing at the bottom of the screen here, that was forward and you're coming in. This is a inadvertent signal, which is the same thing as having a whistle. You're
Right.
stopping the clock. You're killing the play. You give a dead ball signal. You're killing the play. Those are all aspects of it's the same thing as if you blew your whistle. Now you got to own it. So again, this comes down to communication, owning your stuff,
Right.
and making sure we get this right.
And the L clearly thinks this is incomplete, even if they don't go by the mechanics book and shut the play down. If one of the R, U, or L comes in and says, I had this forward to anybody else, somebody else would have chimed in and was like, I thought it was forward, and they would have gotten this right.
So there was conversation across the O2Os,
Oh, okay.
and it was, hey, does anybody have anything different than I do? So
Right.
again, an opportunity to come up and be a crew saver on this point because we just awarded a team 7 point or 6 points,
Right.
potentially 7 or 8 points, right?
Right.
So in a good game, tight game, luckily it didn't have an effect on the outcome of the game. But this is where we got to be the crew saver. We have to, in owning up to this inadvertent signal, you would have been a crew saver had you
Right.
done this, right? So in that case, hey, you had it right. You nailed it. Now come in and sell it.
Sell it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. Coincidentally, ironically enough, this put the home team up 20-3, and the visiting team came back and won.
Yeah,
All right. Know the game situation. Okay, so the home team here has just scored to cut the lead to 28-7 with 140 left in the third quarter. So what do you think is going to happen?
I'm thinking onside.
I'm thinking onside kick too. This crew was not because if they were, there'd be people on the 45 here and they'd scoot everybody up, right? Push everybody,
Yeah,
up, but they didn't. And that matters because we have a tight play like this one. We're going to let it run first.
yeah,
Okay. And then we'll go here. And I highlighted this. Doug, you and I disagree on what actually happened on this play.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, somebody touches the ball at the 49 for
yeah,
K, right? I think it's a pop-up kick. Doug thinks it's a pooch kick.
yeah.
Now, if it's a pooch kick, that would be KCI, right?
Well, and in anything, right?
Yeah.
R is
Well,
still
specifically
scoring.
because K can't be the first to touch the ball unless it's on
Correct.
the ground. That's where I'm going with it. But yeah, to what you're saying, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So in this situation, right, even if we're not in onside kick situations, we always got to be cognizant of what can K do, when can K touch the ball, when can they block legally, and then again getting our antennas. Even any regular that you think is a regular kickoff, you should always be in your back of your mind anticipating that there's a potential for an onside kick. So I always have a beanbag in my hand. Okay. Now, when you have a situation like this, so the officials at the bottom of your screen, they should be looking for signals, right? And
Right,
first touching.
right,
Those are going to be their primary things. The officials at the top should be looking at blocks,
right,
right? And so in this situation, obviously K can't isn't eligible to touch the ball because it hasn't gone 10 yards, right?
right,
So to your point, we have that. Whether you think that's a pop-up kick, if it was a pop-up kick, that would have been should have been killed right off the get-go, right?
right,
Um, I zoomed in on it. I couldn't tell if it did hit the ground or if it came right off the tee. So from that aspect, I'm going to treat it just like a pooch kick. Now the ball's got to go 10. But if I'm the deep wing at the bottom, standing at the 50, I see our player move into that 10-yard zone and it's a pooch kick, I'm now thinking KCI.
right. Yeah, I agree.
So
I think the wing official on the on the R line on the opposite of the field might actually have a better look at this
yeah,
because you got 25 right there in white, and you got another Faith Lutheran player right there, and there's nobody between the opposite official and the ball.
yeah.
But
But minimally, I mean, hey, if this is all going to get, you know, stuck on the side judge, field judge at the 50, the official at the 50, A, we should have beanbag down for first touching, right?
yeah,
Then we should have a flag down for at least illegal blocking by the kicking team.
right,
And then we should start probably be thinking, if not thinking blocks, we should be thinking KCI.
something. Yeah,
So in this situation, we're not thinking anything. If you're the deep wing on the bottom of this, stay off the field until you know. Just go to the sideline, come in, go ahead and let it play a little bit. Right? We just don't want to run banana
but then
to it.
yeah, right angles, perpendicular
Yep,
movements.
that's it. And then my question is, where do you have the spot? Where do you have recovery?
Yeah, I'm not sure where they put it. I think they put it on the other side of the 50. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make that statement affirmatively.
Correct.
Yeah, but okay.
But the other thing we got
You
to
want to shoot
do
your
is
place, Doug? You want to save them to next week?
no, let's get this out real fast. These should be for my game.
This is all you, Doug.
All right, so here we got a scrambling quarterback, right? Tight catch down the sideline. Boom, great job, great position, nails it. But the one thing we don't do is communicate with our short wing, right? How do you work this when now, granted, it's kind of a tweener on this where definitely the receiver's back isn't totally facing. He can still see the ball. He does a great job of football, right? Great toe tapper. He even gets the second one in, right?
NFL.
But we need to double check to make sure that this short wing doesn't have him out because he might be coming up, flying up, killing the clock, blowing his whistle, and then giving an incomplete signal, right?
Yeah.
So to avoid different signals, right? And I don't want to take it back to the Seattle, what was that? Seattle Green Bay, when one goes up touch on the other one
Right.
comes up, right? Stops the clock and goes, okay, we don't want that. So let's
Um,
slow down. Remember, we got other people out there helping us out and working together as a team. Let's look at them, make sure we got them both in. Both of us agree everything's in, and then goes up. Because if one person comes up incomplete, we're all going incomplete.
right. What do you want your short wing to do here?
Short
I'm thinking
wing,
the short wing stops as soon as that ball's about to be caught, he stops and straddles the line.
correct. And he
Right.
did a great job on that, right?
Okay.
So we got the lines covered, right? We got great positioning as far as their deep wing off the pylon, straddling the goal line. And then now we got the short wing that's coming in on here. Again, where's this ball caught,
Looks to me like the three.
right? And it's an interception.
Yeah.
So it's a good job that he comes up and remembers that the deep wing has a spot on that. Had this been the offense, let's reverse it. If this is the offense catching the ball, we got to remember as a deep wing, we just stand there and we can give information
Yeah.
because a short wing's coming up and he has a spot since it's at the three.
Right.
So in this situation, did we communicate that? My two or my goal line? When do we
Right.
push him off? When do we do that? You know?
In my extensive short wing career, if I have this, and I'm expecting you to tell me where the ball goes.
Yeah. Now I'm going to own my spot.
I'm going to own it and I'm going to
Yeah.
sell it, but I'm going to sell it but I'm expecting you to say, oh, we're going to the three.
Yeah. And
The
if
only
we,
thing I know is if you don't have the spot, it's not the two.
yep.
It's outside the two. That's all I know.
Yep.
So, and it could
Good.
be 2.5, whatever, depending on how you guys pre-gamed it. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last one.
So here we got a bad snap, right? We got a recovery by the defense, and it's close. I'm the R on this play, you know. I when I had him get possession because he doesn't have possession until he's now up, right? He's
Right.
now up. So that's when you see me taking off for the goal line in that situation. Um, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever, it got blown down for a body part down, a knee down. Uh, it would have been the same results as if we had enforced and announced an IW on this. But this is just another one about just taking it slow, making sure you see things every time, right? And again, uh, we want to be off the field until the play's dead. We shouldn't be on the field, get caught up in there. So positioning wise, I think we didn't see where the ball initially was, and then we got surprised, and then we're kind of looking back, and it looks like he has possession, but honestly, at this angle, we can't see it. So, what is our philosophy when in doubt? or I shouldn't say when in doubt because we're never doubting ourselves, but when in question.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I would question it's not a fumble.
When in question, it's not a fumble.
I thought we always went when in question the knees down. Are you talking about?
In this recovery, right? You if
Oh,
you
oh, you don't kill it. I see what you're saying.
right.
You
So
did.
when
You
in
leave.
doubt,
You let it go.
yeah, you let this go from
My
the
bad. I'm getting fired.
and put it together, right? Especially if you see another official taking off for the other one,
Right.
for the goal line in that situation. But again, it's just we can always talk about it. Hey, I did you have him up? I had him up.
Right.
I had him up the old way because he's sliding the ball, right? So
Yeah.
again, slowing down, making sure we have both elements, before we blow a whistle. Again, I've done this myself many a times. I think I see what I saw instead of trusting what I saw, right?
Right.
So if I can't see when possession is, I can't rule if he's down or not, right? I can tell you as a body part down, but that's all I can tell you.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's it.
We have beat these to death. Um, Again, if you're still listening, as we spend over an hour talking about all the bad plays,
Yeah.
there are always more good plays every week than bad plays,
Yes.
right? So there you go. All right, Doug, any last comments?
No, hey, everybody that's working a state final this upcoming weekend and on Tuesday, have great games. You've all have earned these assignments. And again, these are just learning opportunities. These are not to demean or to do any discrediting of any officials because I've worked with any and all of these officials anywhere in any game.
Yep. I concur. And we learn not just from our mistakes, we learn from other people's mistakes too, right?
Correct.
That's why I put these on there. All right, Doug, I will see you Tuesday.
You got it, sir.
I'll talk to you, man. Bye, man.
Take it.